Welcome everyone to another edition of Triple Threat Wrestling Radio right here on itmiradio.com. I am Kenny C, and in case you haven't heard, I am back in Kentucky after 6, 7 long months. I hope everybody's having a good evening, having a good week thus far. I just decided to skip the intro. Jeff's show just finished just moments ago. And I'm just going to go ahead and give him a call. And we can get the show started. Um, Tonight, we're going to recap SmackDown, Impact, Genesis, and Raw. Interview with wrestling veteran Amy Lee. And no, it's not the lady from Evanescence. It's a different Amy Lee. Just thought I clear that up. I'm calling Jeff right now. See if he'll pick up the Skype call. And I see we still got some people from the Rat Bastard Sports Show.
Bud?
Hey, man.
How are you?
I'm good, man. Hopefully we can get through a show with no Skype problems, but it is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and give all the shout outs to the people that's in the chat room right now. Myself, the Patriots fan, whom you and two been having going at each other. Andrew Browning Bastard, who's been influenced by Jeff. Jeff, you rat bastard. Verizon, who happens to be Jeff's friend, female. Hello. We have a. I'm just gonna call you Maid, cause I don't want to mess up your username.
That's why I was calling. That's why I was calling a madam.
Oh, madam. I see the maid, so I just made madam close enough. Rocket Man, Joey Licious. I'm assuming it's another football person, and our good friend from across the pond, Fozzie.
How's it feel to be back in Kentucky?
Feels real good thus far. I'm enjoying it. I'm settled. I'm looking for a new job. Actually, I'm trying to get my old job back. So I'm closing in on that. I probably won't be working until early February, which probably will be after the Super Bowl. That's pretty good. That way, I can actually watch the game instead of working during Super Bowl Sunday like I did last year. So let's go ahead and get started. Starting with SmackDown first. Booker T took on Cody Rhodes for the Intercontinental title. And Cody Rhodes defeated Booker T, successfully retained the Intercontinental title. Now, all of a sudden, Goldust, who is Cody Rhodes' older brother, and they both are the sons of Dusty Rhodes. 2 weeks ago on SmackDown, I believe, it was Cody Rhodes who attacked his older brother. And now, it looks like they may have a brother versus brother feud. So it looks like Goldust may be coming back to the ring soon. And if that's the case, he's going to be on SmackDown. Daniel Bryan, the peep squeak, kind of reads his way out of the match against Big Show. What he did was he got out of the ring right. Mark Henry was doing commentary. He tried to he took a cheap shot at Mark Henry. Mark Henry hits him back. Referee sees it. It's a disqualification. So yeah, Daniel Bryan is quite the peep squeak. Now check this out. Tamina, who is the daughter of Jimmy Superfly Snuka, took on Natalia, who's the daughter of Jimmy Andrew Neidhart. Tamina went on to win that match, and maybe the SmackDown side got the Diva thing going. Santina Marella defeated Drew McIntyre, and with that win, Santino is now the new assistant to General Manager Teddy Long. Zack Ryder is no longer the assistant. He's on Raw. He's the United States champion. And besides, he's scared out of his mind after what happened to him this past Monday night.
You know, I was watching Monday night, and I was watching Santino wrestle, and I'm going, man, this guy's
He's
come
good.
from nothing to be a piece of crap now, and now he plays all the crappy roles,
He's
pretty
just
much.
he's just there for
He's the
comic
fall guy.
relief. He's just there for comic relief. I mean, he's no CM Punk or Daniel Bryan when it comes to wrestling ability. And he is a former Intercontinental Champion, Tag Team Champion, believe it or not. But I guess that's why a lot of people like myself like him is because he's goofy, and
He's goofy, and
he's
he
there for
acts like
comic relief.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so
Comic relief, freaking wrestler.
he knows his lane and he understood it. So I don't think he's tripping that much. Um, let's see. Hornswoggle defeated Heath Slater in a over the top rope challenge.
Ogle defeated Heath Slater. Jesus fucking Christ.
I mean, Hornswoggle,
The midget. How tall is he? 4 foot one.
I don't know the exact height, but he is a pretty small guy. And if anyone who loses to him, I don't care if you're
Should
champion.
never be in wrestling ever again.
Now, luckily for Slater, he didn't get pinned or submitted. This was an over the top rope challenge. But how do you let a little guy like Hornswoggle eliminate you like that? I mean, and now Hornswoggle actually talks now.
I know.
And now you got this new guy, well, not necessarily new guy. What I mean is Hunico. He defeated Ted DiBiase Jr. I'm just gonna refer to him as Jr. because of course he's the son of Ted DiBiase Sr., $1 Million Man.
Oh god.
So yeah, you know how WWE they love the famous parents' kids, and of course, Primo and Epico defeated Air Boom. It looks like and Primo and Epico they are the once again famous wrestler kids. They
Yeah,
are
but they're not the champs right now. They get to
yeah
go and
they,
wrestle them for the belt at the
yeah.
pay per view, right?
Yeah, it looks like there may
lose
be
that.
a tag team title match between Air Boom versus Primo and Epico.
Yeah, they'll lose.
That's
there.
what it looked like. And now we get on to the Raw portion of the show. Kofi Kingston did a promo on WWE.com promoting the show. And then Daniel Bryan interrupts him. And then he says that his wins against the Big Show at TLC and last SmackDown was a fluke. So Daniel Bryan challenged him to a match. And unfortunately, they always do this to the brother. Kofi taps out. Not a good night for Kofi. Lost on SmackDown, lost on Raw. Sheamus and Santino defeated Ray Barrett and Jinder Mahal. And check this out. CM Punk took on Jack Swagger, and the annoying Johnny Boy, Big Johnny as he called himself, John Laurinaitis, added a stipulation, right? That if
He's a douchebag, you know that?
yes, we all come to terms with that. Uh, so yeah, here's the stipulation was if Punk wins, then Swagger and Vicky are banned from ringside in the WWE title match. Now, whether you believe it or not, CM Punk defeated Swagger. Now there was a bit of a controversy because if you watch the end of the match real carefully, Swagger kicked out at the count of he kicked out before the 3 count. He had his shoulder up. He kicked out and had his shoulder up. But the referee did not see it. He just count 1, 2, 3. Now John Laurinaitis, he was too busy texting that he didn't see it. And you gotta wonder, did John Laurinaitis just gave CM Punk an advantage heading into the Royal Rumble, perhaps? Because with Swagger and Vicky banned for ringside, that's a fair even match to me. Now Laurinaitis is gonna be the special guest referee, and Verizon apparently cannot stand the swag. Uh, Speaking of which, it was the debut, the long-awaited, or technically I like to call it the re-debut of Brodus Clay, not the angry, big, tough guy that he was last year. As a matter of fact, He was referred to as, let me see if I get this correctly, the Funkosaurus. Yeah, and I do want to point out that this guy once was the bodyguard of Snoop Dogg. He was on NXT, I think back in 2010. Yeah, that guy. I will. There was mixed reactions to it, but I will say this: I say good for Brodus Clay. He could have easily went with the big, angry, cranky guy. He could have been Mark Henry Jr., but he did something a little different. So I'll give it a few more weeks to see if I'm going to be a fan of this character or not. Oh, and WWE inducted a couple of folks into the Hall of Fame. The Four Horsemen. That's right, all four of them, Anderson, Flair, Blanchard, and Wyndham, all inducted to the Hall of Fame. You being the old school guy, how do you feel about the Four Horsemen? Finally,
Really?
yeah, the Four Horsemen gonna be inducted to the Hall of Fame. Only
That's good.
problem, the only problem is Ric Flair is still under contract with TNA. So how's that gonna work as far as the acceptance speech is concerned? Um, I'm super happy for Arm Anderson. As you all know, the enforcer. I mean, this guy was just as talented as Flair was. He just didn't get a lot of popularity. Anderson, I'm super happy for him. Congratulations to the Four Horsemen. And of course, the rated R superstar Edge also being inducted into the Hall of Fame as well. Just almost a year.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck's that all about? The guy just retired, man.
Yeah, just almost a year removed from his last match, which was against Alberto Del Rio at WrestleMania. Now, there's a lot of debate over it. Was it too early to induct Edge? I do want to point out one thing though. I think it was last year. Shawn Michaels was inducted to the Hall of Fame just a year after he retired, but under different circumstances. Under different circumstances. He was at the end of his career. He felt it was time to call it a career. Edge had an injury and he could never wrestle again. So you take it how you want it, but Edge, it's been. I mean, there's no denying that he should be a Hall of Famer, but maybe too early, I guess. But hey, if I'm Edge and I get a phone call from Vince McMahon saying, "Hey, you accomplished a lot. You're gonna be inducted to the Hall of Fame," I'm taking that. I'm taking that. So I don't blame Edge for saying, you know what, fine, I'll be inducted to the Hall of Fame. No problem. Not a problem. Let's see. Kane continues to, well, how do I say this? He's trying to get John Cena to embrace the hate. Now, the Monday Night War kicked off with Cena pretty much. He wanted to fight. Actually, it was started off with Kane. Excuse me. Talks about embracing the hate and all that stuff. Cena comes in. The two have a brawl. Goes backstage. Goes outside the ring. And um and then later that night, Zack Ryder spent the whole night running away from Kane. And then Eve was supposed to have a match against Beth Phoenix. And that match was cut short because of Kane, of course. Eve ran for her life. Well, actually, Zack Ryder was there. Took took her into a car. Unfortunately, the tire was flat. I think we all know who did that. Kane. So, yeah, we all know who made that tire flat. We all know who did it. And you know how Zack Ryder was trying to get his technician on, trying to get the tire fixed as quick as possible. And then, of course, Kane came in, attacked Ryder, choke slam him from off a stage or whatever it was. And then Cena trying to come to the aid. He didn't do too much neither. So Kane mentally is getting the best of John Cena pretty much. Um, so right now, this is what The Rock said about John Cena's deal Fruity Pebbles. When news broke of John Cena's endorsement deal with Fruity Pebbles. The Walk took to Twitter in the following: I assume my royalty check is in the mail. Yeah, that's if you think about it, The Walk does deserve some sort of money. If Cena endorsing Fruity Pebbles, look, it started off as a shot at John Cena, and he kind of switched it and made it funny. I mean, we all gotta make fun of ourselves every now and then. He does wear a bunch of colored T-shirts. I get that. So yeah, but he turned a negative into a positive. So it's it's no biggie. It's no biggie. Uh, Also, what happened here is Miz and R-Truth. Oh my goodness, Miz and R-Truth, and I'm gonna get to Chris Jericho in just a moment here. But Miz has had enough of R-Truth. Okay, R-Truth is just he wants to make every Monday a Christmas for him.
That's good. That's so much fun.
So he's ever since he come back from his suspension, um, R-Truth's been making Miz's life miserable. So Miz has been trying to get someone to, plan a trap for him, and the victim is Alberto Del Rio's sir, Ricardo Rodriguez. Uh, Ricardo Rodriguez was saying stuff about R-Truth. Then Truth comes into the ring, tries to get Rodriguez to sing La Cucaracha, and Rodriguez paid for his trouble this Monday. Uh, not a good luck for Ricardo Rodriguez, and Del Rio can't help him because he's recovering from a groin injury. All these wrestlers injured, man. Del Rio, who else was hurt? Mysterio, Christian, Orton, who suffered a herniated disc. He may end up missing the Royal Rumble, which will be in his hometown of St. Louis. But Orton's gonna do whatever he can to get healthy in time for that. I mean, that's gonna be in his hometown, and the chance to headline WrestleMania is at stake. So we'll see how that goes. Chris Jericho was there this past Monday night, and he's smiling, crowds cheering for him. And now, on the first Raw 2012, Jeff, Chris Jericho maybe got lost in the moment, didn't talk. He just the crowd reaction. Maybe it got to him or whatever. So people are like, okay, that happens. He actually talked this past Monday, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is wrong. He did not speak. He got choked up again. He all this talk, all this hype about Chris Jericho coming back to the WWE, and 2 weeks in a row, nothing to say, nothing. I mean, none, nada, zilch, big donut, whatever you want to call it. He just, did he forget that this is what he does? Or is it just a storyline? That's the thing with wrestling. You don't know what's real or what's not real or whatever. You don't know if it's genuine or not. You just watch it and just see what happens. Uh, right, and Rocket Man says Y2J will continue not to talk until the fans boo him or someone makes him. I don't see that happening. It might be a part of his return gimmick. Yeah, I guess that's what it is. But wrestling, people are just like, what is he doing? Or what he's not doing. Um, and check this out. SmackDown tomorrow night, you got Sheamus taking on Jinder Mahal. And World Heavyweight Championship on the line will be Daniel Bryan versus The Big Show. And to make sure that Peep Squeak Daniel Bryan doesn't weasel his way out, it will be a no disqualification.
A false count anywhere, right?
Yeah, no DQ, false count anywhere. The Rule
Right. So
book is
that
out.
means Mark Henry can come in and beat the crap out of both of them.
Yeah, he
Nothing
can.
can happen. Right.
Yeah, either that or Daniel Bryan will probably try to get Mark Henry to help him out. Because let's face it, as good as Daniel Bryan is, you taking on the Big Show, who had a 45-second reign as World Heavyweight Champion, and he tried to be a nice guy about it, but Daniel Bryan has turned into a heel. And you know what's the weird thing about this is that Michael Cole, who's been the biggest Daniel Bryan skeptic since he came to the WWE, he ripped him every single week. And now all of a sudden he's a bad guy, and you know Michael Cole embraces the bad guys. Daniel
Mhm.
Bryan is a bad guy, and yet he still whips the guy. So I don't even know what to think. He just doesn't like the guy, pretty much.
I guess not.
He just doesn't like the guy, regardless. But Daniel Bryan got his hands full tomorrow night on SmackDown. You know, and we may have brother versus brother, Cody Rhodes versus Goldust, and this is all gonna be leading up into the. What's your thoughts about Brodus Clay's re-debut? Somebody better call his mama. Um, as I said earlier, Fozzy, I thought it was clever. He could have easily went with the mean tough guy gimmick, but he went something different. And now I look on at Facebook and see people like, well, kind of comparing his gimmick to Two Cold Scorpio and The Godfather. You know, Two Cold Scorpio had that funk appear to him, and Godfather, he was a pimp. He was a pimp who wrestles, and he had two lady. He had multiple ladies joining him at ringside. Uh, but I don't think Brodus Clay tried to go with the pimp gimmick. He's just a guy who's funky, funking and vibing and stuff. And not sure if anyone recognized those two ladies or not. But one of those ladies is Naomi for NXT, and the other girl, I forgot her name, but she's one of those girls from Tough Enough. Remember that one girl that Stone Cold Steve Austin asked, "What was your favorite match of all time?" And then she
Mhm.
said Melina versus Alicia Fox.
Mhm.
She was one of those girls with Brodus Clay.
Dancing.
Yes. Talk about going from probably the most craziest answer to being a dancing lady with Brodus Clay. And Brodus Clay was the number one trending topic on Twitter during the East Coast time of Monday Night Raw. Just a week after Chris Jericho was the number one trending topic on Twitter. WWE always love to get the word on Twitter out there, but for TNA they don't do that. It's because their shows are taped. And SmackDown they don't do that because they're taped as well. So yeah, Naomi, she does have a dancing background. I think she used to be a cheerleader, and I like Naomi on NXT. Uh, the woman was just as good as AJ Caitlyn. I thought she should have won that season. So you know, coming up later on tonight, we going to recap the Genesis pay per view and what could very well be RVD's last match on Genesis. Rumors out there is that he may be returning to the WWE. Could Genesis been the last appearance for Rob Van Dam? Yeah. So here I am, Jeff, back in Kentucky, just a
Mhm.
day and a half in, and it's already snowing.
You wanted to go back to
Yeah,
Kentucky.
yeah,
There you go.
yeah. Hey,
Wise move by your part,
I,
wasn't it?
hey, I'm not gonna trip. I lived there for about a decade, so I'm I'm used to it. Oh, and in a couple of minutes, I'm gonna have an interview with Amy Lee, and no, it is not Amy Lee from Evanescence. It's a different Amy Lee. She's a wrestler.
Glad you clarified that
Yes,
up.
I want to clarify. She's been wrestling for a long time. She wrestles at a company called WSU, which is one of the most top woman wrestling companies here in the U.S. If you, bottom line is, if you like to watch women matches longer than 2 minutes, unlike WWE, you watch a lot of talented women wrestlers out there. And I've interviewed a couple of them on this show last year. So she happens to be, I believe she is the commissioner of WSU, and they got a couple of shows coming up. So last week I thought I wasn't gonna have a guest, and then Amy sent me a tweet saying, "Hey, I'll be on the show." I said, "Cool, let's do it." Gotta love Twitter. Gotta love that our show is being noticed out there. So Impact is happens to be on tonight. Fallout from Genesis, and again I will recap Genesis, and I will recap Impact and Genesis after the interview. Um, we got a lot of stuff going on, and for all you first time listeners, thank you for joining us. You all listening to Triple Threat Wrestling Radio right here on itmiradio.com. And for those you first time ITMI Radio listeners, I know we still got a couple of people from Rat Bastard show earlier. And Verizon says you are in that she is in WA. We have no snow. Good for you. And Fozzie doesn't envy us Kentuckians, Andrew, obviously. When I lived in Georgia, we do get rain, but we don't get snow. We're right next to Florida. Here in Kentucky, gonna get snow every now and then. So it happens, I guess. It happens. If you like to listen to this and many more of our past shows, you can listen to ITMI on demand. There's a new tab on the top of the ITMI radio page. You can listen to past shows from Wet Bastard, Unknown Comic Fan, Drunken Roundtable, this show. Um, Hopefully, Chilling will be added on that ITMI on demand eventually, but that's what it looks like right now. So you can listen to past shows there on the ITMI on demand. And if you want to be a host of ITMI radio show,
Good
just
luck.
just click on the Become a Host tab and fill out the form, and our boss Chaos will get to you when he gets to
Sooner
you.
or later.
Sooner or later. I mean, the man has 6 kids, but he'll get to you eventually.
6 kids. So you know he had sex at least 6 times.
Yeah. Um, and now that I'm back in Kentucky, I think what I'm going to do.
Freezing your ass off, ain't you, boy?
It's not that cold.
Yes, it is. Don't lie to me.
We have a Pat Crotch.
Pat crotch?
or I'm not even.
Pat my crotch?
Yeah. We have.
Alright.
Hello, Pat. And if you're a first time listener, welcome to the show. And our guest
Pat
is.
your crotch?
I'm just going to call him Pat. Our guest is calling in right now. Let me go ahead and add her to the call. Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined with a wrestling veteran. You may also know her from WSU. Her name is Primetime. Amy Lee joining us right now. Good evening, Amy.
Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing?
We're doing real good, and thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Oh, no, thank you for having me on here.
And of course, I was talking a little bit earlier. You sent me a tweet on wanting to be on the show, and that doesn't happen very often. Normally, I email people to see if they want to be on, and you tweeted me, and I said, "Sure, let's do it." So the rest is history. If we have you on, I'm a fan of you, and I'm a fan of WSU, and I want to start off with WSU, of course. Talk a little
Okay.
talk a little bit about WSU and your involvement on the company.
Well, WSU has been now active for 5 years, coming up on 5 years this coming March 3rd, which is tremendous for an all women's promotion because um, a lot of them back in the day, like your Glory and your WEW and promotions like that, they kind of threw comedy and like little skits in there, so to speak, with the girls. They didn't do a true old school style all women's promotion, which I can't believe. I mean, they did. LPW did something like that, but they never do like the hold of the week and stuff like that. Like this is like downright where when you come to a show and when you watch a DVD of WSU or when you watch an internet pay per view, you're watching the matches in the entirety. You're watching a complete match from the time they walk out to the time they walk back in. There's no garbage. The commentary is extremely professional. I think Cindy Rogers and her co-host do a tremendous job, calling everything. And there's no hokiness, is what I'm basically trying to sum it up. There's no hokiness. I mean, you have your little promos to set things up and things like that, but nothing hokey. It's all like genuine, and you could definitely see the old school style there. And I think that's what a lot of wrestling promotions on the indie scene lack. They all talk old school. They all talk about kayfabe. They all talk about respect. They throw all the old school words out there, but they never practice what they preach. In this case, WSU practiced what they preached. I mean, if you look at the roster, they got big girls like me, and they had Kong on there. They got small girls, very tiny girls like Sassy Stephanie and them. So they come in all shapes, sizes, color, creeds, nationalities, whatever you want to say, ethnicities, and all that other stuff. So it's a melting pot of women's professional wrestling. And what I like about Mick is he's always constantly trying to make it better. It's not like, okay, we have this roster, let's just settle with this, and that's it. He takes that roster, he builds them up, he does the angles, he does the big build-ups and everything. And then what he does is he adds people that have been on television just to draw in the crowd of interest to see who they're going against. And it actually is good because it showcases the girls that don't get the opportunity to be on TV all the time. It gives them an opportunity to showcase their talents by, like for me, instance, I got to work Kong a couple of times. So that got to show, I was in my 32nd, as I like to say, of fame working Kong because there's not too many big girls on the scene these days. They're all small, they're very petite and things like that. So for me to work Kong was great because to me it was like almost like working a bull Nakana, just a big girl. And the two of us just went in there and beat the living daylights out of one another, which was great because that's how it should be. You don't want to see us do wrist locks and head locks and all. You want to see us go out and just try and rip the flesh off one another's bones. And that's what I like about WSU. They get it because he's not just a promoter. Okay, the management team are just not promoters. They are die-hard wrestling fans, and that's what makes a difference. And what I love the most about WSU is you don't see the management really in the spotlight. They stay behind the scenes completely. You never see them out there in the ring or anything like that. They stay behind the scenes. And then for someone like myself who just retired this past summer, they asked me to come along as commissioner, with my veteran experiences and stuff to guide the girls along and help with the angles and things like that. So, WSU's doing the right thing. They're taking the girls that they have and they're bringing the best out in them, and that's how it should be. Nobody should be squashed. Nobody should be forgotten or buried. Everybody has their 30 seconds of fame, and that's what I love about WSU. Yeah.
Again, we are joined with primetime Amy Lee right here on Triple Threat Western Radio. For more info on WSU, check out their website at www.wsuwrestling.com and be on the lookout of their 5-year anniversary show, which I believe coming up in March.
March 3rd, the first Saturday of the month, we take.
So you can either watch it in person or you can order it on iPay per view.
IPTV.
Yeah, so go
Mm-hmm.
check it out. Quality woman wrestling at its finest. And the matches, ladies and gentlemen, last longer than 2 minutes, unlike some companies. So And I've interviewed a couple of ladies from WSU. Very, very nice, very respectful, and very talented at
Good,
what they do. So I got a lot of respect for WSU.
good.
Now, you being a commissioner, I mean, how do you feel about your new role now that you're no longer wrestling? I mean, how do you feel about being commissioner?
Well, I take it as an honor because, first of all, to be first of all, let's just call a spade here. Okay, we all girl. I'm not a size five. Okay, and I got some cellulite on my thighs here. So, I mean, you shake the sheets, you're definitely going to find me. I'm not going to be missing in action here. So for WSU to ask me to basically be their spokesperson is a high compliment because I have always been known for my charisma, my never lack of words, so to speak, and my promos. So, again, here's Mick taking somebody who can talk and knows how to address the fans and engulf the fans and have the fans believe, again, he's taking me. Okay, you don't want to wrestle no more in the ring. You want to retire from in ring. But he came to me and said, I want you as my commissioner. I want you to represent this company. I want you to guide these girls. I want you to have input in this. I want, So to me, that's a high compliment because think about this. You look at TNA, you look at WWE. What female that has been around as long as I have or longer is actually on television as a spokesperson or put in the spotlight? None. The only other female that ever was really used that way was the Fabulous Moolah for a short period, and that was as a manager. That wasn't even as a spokesperson for a company. So I take that as a high compliment and an honor because Mick knows I believed in WSU. When he first started, he maybe had 25 people in the crowd because people were unsure on all women's wrestling show. It's not going to be that good. And then after his first show, his first couple of shows, people were catching on, and they're like, wow, you got Mercedes Martinez, you got Cindy Rogers, you had Daphne on there, and you're not bringing girls just from like the New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York area. You got them from the Massachusetts, the New England area, Connecticut. You have them from down south, and stuff like that. So for me, it's a big compliment. It's an honor, and I enjoy it because I get to sit there and I still get to work with the girls who I genuinely love and adore, and they're all like my little babies, and I just take them under my wing and I mommy them and I guide them, the same way I've been guided through my career. So I try and help them to become better at what they do, and I drastically see that improvement every time there's a show.
Now I noticed a while back you did a couple of matches for MLW, and MLW, just like WSU, has all your quality women wrestling. What was it like
Yes.
working for working at the MLW?
Well, I actually heard about Daryl Bruff through a photographer. I don't know if you ever heard of him, Wrestling Wally. And he goes to a lot of the women's wrestling shows and takes photos. And he said to me, you're so old school, and you're from, and I started my career down at USWA with Jerry Lawler and them. And I was trained by the great late Dickie Murdoch. So he says, you have that old school, the Southern style and all. He's like, there's a company down there that is very old school. He said, matter of fact, they're so old school. I mean, he says they do the old fashioned one pieces. And I was like, oh, honey, my girl's going with them. So I never really gave it a thought. And Wrestling Wally kept saying to me, contact Darryl Bluffcom and his wife Susan, who own the company. So I said, well, first of all, if the guy owns a company with his wife, he's not going to be a pervert or a sleazeball, just from my past experiences in life. So I contacted him, and I'll tell you what, the first time I went down there, I fell in love with not just Daryl and Sue, but the entire company and the staff. They were absolutely magnificent. That is actually where I met Athena, and that is where I met Sassy Stephanie for the first time. I had read about them, I had heard about them, but I never had the privilege of meeting them in person until down there. So it's kind of cool because with MW, they're kind of doing customs what Sean the Mick McCafferty is doing with WSU. They're taking the melting pot, they're grabbing the best that they can get, and they're building their company off of that, and it's wonderful. I can't say enough nice things about them. Even the photographers, they're all gentlemen. Like I was always told by people that did customs that, oh, I did it with this one, and it kind of made them feel sleazy or dirty or whatever like that, or somebody was a little bit perverted, or their comments weren't too cool or something. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I don't do that kind of stuff because I strongly believe if you're going to be in the limelight like that, and I know I'm known for my cussing and stuff like that, which I have like tremendously toned down because I now have a 13-year-old niece that knows how to use the computer, so Aunt Amy's got to tone it down a bit.
Right.
So, I don't want to do any of that freaky stuff that some of them doing on. I was like, look, I just want to like legitimately get in there and do some old school wrestling and have a good time and get paid for it, and the promoter make money off me, and that's basically what happened. And I had a blast. As a matter of fact, I worked for Daryl beginning of last summer, and I broke my hand wrestling Tina San Antonio. I threw her. It was a freak thing. I threw her to the turnbuckle. When I came back, it was weird. My hand caught on the rope, and I actually broke my wrist, and I
Mm.
felt it pop. So we continued with the custom and everything, and that night I had to wrestle Melanie Cruz on a show that MLW was having. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I said, Melanie, this is what we're going to do. I said, you're the ultimate heel. Well, baby, I'm going to put you over even more tonight. And she goes, whatever you want me to do. Like, that's another girl. Like, I don't work for Shimmer, and I don't go out that way. So to work with someone like Melanie Cruz or me, that's another, she's a pretty thick, tall girl. So that's another great thing. So I get to work with Melanie Cruz, who I always wanted to work. So I got to work her that night, and we had a great match, and it was just an old school ass kicking match, and it's awesome when you're done at the end of the night and fans are walking up to you saying, you know what? That's what a woman's match should be. That's how it should be, and that just makes me feel real good. So
I have three more questions I want to ask you, and this one
okay,
comes from my friend Andrew. Um, he wants to know what was your best match? What?
my best match. Wow. I mean, I've had so many great matches. I mean, I always say it's not the one person that makes the match great; it's the two people. Like I worked for, if I was to do it by promotion, NWL, HOPWS, F down in Maryland, Maryland, Western Pennsylvania area, I would have to say Fantasia. For me, for WSU, it was definitely Kong without a doubt because we just beat the shit out of one another, didn't care. USWA, I just managed working with Eddie Gilbert and learning from him was phenomenal. So it depends. Like I tagged with Luna Vachon. How many people could say they tagged with Luna Vachon and make two girls retire that night after you worked them? I got to tag with Jim the Anvil Neidhart, who only got to whoever only tagged with his daughter. That was the only other female besides myself.
Mm.
So I mean I can't say I have like one particular match, but I mean I could say I honestly had one horrible match that if I could take any match away from my career, it would be the matches that I had against Nicole Bass. She was absolutely horrific and should have never been allowed to be inside that ring because she didn't know a wristwatch from a wrist lock.
Hey.
Horrible. From the time we walked in the locker room till the time we walked out there, went over her match. And I'm talking about an over a 1.5 hour time span. And then once we turned around and got in the ring, she forgot everything. I'm like, really? You're making 450 and I'm getting $50. Are you kidding me?
Mm.
Really, you freak? Oh, that just worked my last female nerves. So, my temper got the best of me and I smacked and cracked her in the ring. So, needless to say, that was the last time she wanted to work me. Oh well.
Well, what I do is I like interviewing people, talking about their stories and how they came about with their careers, and to me that shows that not only you like what you do for a living, you take it seriously, and I hope aspiring wrestlers that do listen to this show get a good understanding that it's not a cakewalk. I mean, you take your bumps and bruises, you go through
Right.
ups and downs. You
Oh yeah. I mean, there's times where you'll work a match. You think you did an absolutely phenomenal job in that match, and you come back, you and your they call it opponent. In the old days, we used to say partners. Opposing partners because you're really a partner in the ring because you're making both one another look phenomenal. And the thing that you're going back there, you're excited, you both think you did a great match, you watch the tape, and then next thing you know, you're just picking it all apart. Or you read a review of somebody and they just knock it, and you're saying, Wait, were we watching the same match? Because I thought it was great. You thought it sucked. What I thought sucked, you thought was great. So, hmm, maybe it's me. I don't know. I mean, you get frustrated. You want to throw in the towel. You want to quit. You shed some tears. You throw some f bombs around. 'Cause you're frustrated. But you know what? I can honestly say I had a blast my 22 years inside the ring, inside and outside the ring, because I made some phenomenal friends that are priceless, and are loyal. Anybody that's out there that's just starting in the business, they pretty much just, I'm going to give you the advice that I was given by Captain Redneck Dick Murdoch, and that's keep your mouth shut and your eyes and ears open. If your veteran tells you something, whether you agree or not, you just sit there, say, thank you, sir, thank you, man, keep your mouth shut. Shake their hand, acknowledge them, and walk away. Whether you agree with what they say or not, they deserve that respect because they've been doing it longer than you, and they've paid their dues longer than you. And that's the best advice I can give anybody, because once you grasp that and check your ego at the front door, you'll last a long time. Otherwise, as quick as you're in, as quick as you'll be gone.
I like that. Shut up and listen, and keep your eyes
That's
open.
right. Yep. Well, Murdoch actually said to me, I don't train no damn girls, but I like you because that chest of yours is about the size of a nut. That's your nut sack in life. And he said, Emily, you keep your mouth shut, your legs closed, your eyes and ears open, one hand on your wallet and one hand on your panties, and you'll survive. He goes, that's the best advice I can give you. If you don't listen to that, he goes, fuck you, you'll be out of the business. And I listen to him. I listened to him.
All right, and
I may not have been on TV and all. I may not have been on WWF, but you know what? Not too bad for a fat broad from Jersey, you know?
hey,
Not too
not
bad.
not bad. I mean, longevity. And you accomplished a lot, and you on WSU. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Yep.
Uh, I got another question as we getting near the end of the show.
Okay.
Uh, and this is a WWE question. I'm assuming. He wants to know
Okay.
what is your who is your favorite diva? It could be past or present. He's obviously a WWE fan,
Um,
so
Diva, my favorite. I'm gonna have to go with Natalia Neidhart. And the reason why I will go with Natalia Neidhart is she's Jim the Anvil Neidhart's daughter, and she's like a niece to me. But also, that girl learned how to wrestle not only from her family, but she went to Japan and actually lived in the dojos and worked out. And she never, ever, ever tried to get anywhere by throwing her family's weight around. Oh, well, my Uncle Brett or my dad Jim never did that. If anything, she was always quiet, humble, and modest about her family background. And she would always say, well, that's my dad, or that's my uncle that did that, not me. I'm different from them. And I always gave her kudos because she has to work 20 times hard, because I don't care what anybody says, them girls that are on TV today, she can rip them, chew them up, and spit them out in a blink of an eyelash. And they all know it. And you know what? I give her a lot of kudos because she keeps her composure. She stays professional. And, she's a beautiful girl. She works very hard. And she gets kudos for it. Major, major, major kudos for it.
anyone, male or female, who can survive the legendary Hard Dungeon by Stu Hart definitely has my respect. So yeah, I with you on that one. I like Natalia. She's one of the she's one of the actual people, females I should say, can wrestle in the WWE Diva roster. Her
Yep,
and
her,
Beth
her and Beth
Phoenix.
Phoenix. Absolutely. And Beth's another girl that went up and down the highways. And, it's funny because I had the privilege of meeting Jazz when she worked for WEW, Women's Extreme Wrestling. And she said, Emily, she goes, they used to want us to do them diva shoots and all. She goes, I don't want to do that. She goes, I'm a wrestler. She goes, I don't want to be no damn diva. She goes, that's what they call me. And I go, yeah, okay, I'm a wrestling diva. And that's what she said. She says, they make these girls do these photo shoots, and a lot of them don't want to do the photo shoots. The wrestlers I'm talking about, they don't want to do that stuff, but, it comes with the paycheck, so they do it, you know.
I hear you. And you can follow Amy at Amy Lee 89. That's your Twitter name.
Yeah, at Amy Lee 869
Eight
is
six
my
nine.
Twitter, and then my website is www.amyleecentral.com.
All right, so definitely check this lady out, and if you are in the New Jersey, New York area, check her out. WSU, Amy Lee, and I did mention before you was on the air, she is not Amy Lee for Evanescence. I just wanted to clear that up. You know, this is
Yeah, no, no, no.
so this is prime time Amy Lee, okay? Not Evanescence Amy Lee. Before we let you go, Amy, and these interviews don't go as long as usual, but you know we just went a lot longer than usual. But I'm happy to have you on. I would love to have you back on again in the future. And before I let you go, I want you to do what's called a station ID. It's a voice drop. All you have to do is say
Okay.
your all you have to do is say your name. Right after you say your name, you say you are listening to Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. I'll count to three. You go ahead and say it.
It's Triple Threat Wrestling Radio,
That
right?
is that is correct.
That's a tongue twizzler. Oh man, I'm glad I'm not drinking Jack Daniels tonight.
All right. All right, let's give it a shot here. One, two, three.
This is prime time, Amy Lee, and it's time, and I mean time, that you all listen to the Threat Wrestling Radio. And if you don't, you're nothing but a loser. And that's not a threat. That's a bona fide fact, brother. Woo!
That was great. I love it. Thank you, Amy, for your time. Best of success.
No, thank you, baby. Good luck with everything. That's
Thank.
awesome. I always like reaching out to like new guys that I hear about and stuff like that. Cause I'm like, if they got the time, I got the, I'll talk your ear off. If you got 2 ears, I'll talk your ear. I love to talk. I love interviews. But I just thought it was great that you were starting this up, and I'll talk to the girls at WSU, and I'll send them all out a special tweet and tell them, contact you about doing some interviews and stuff like that. That'd be great.
That would be great, especially with the 5 year anniversary coming. To get high praise for a veteran, that just made my day.
No, that's great. Because, I get guys that contact me, and I go on there, and then they want to use your real name. And I'm like, guys, don't use my real name. Like, no. Amy Lee's fine. I'm like, just use Amy Lee. Don't get into my last name and stuff like that. So, but, no, I wish you a lot of luck. It was great. It was fun. So,
And you have a good night.
definitely. You too, honey. Take care. Good luck with everything.
Thank you. You too. Bye
All
bye.
right, God bless. Bye-bye.
That was prime time Amy Lee, and yeah, and I did notice Fozzy and Andrew. There was some chopping here and there. Uh, Jeff, are you still here? I'm sorry, man. I'm
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm just no big deal. I'm watching the Nick game. Don't worry about me.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and get a quick recap of TNA, and then we'll get out of here. Um, Impact from last Thursday. Let's see. The Pretty much all the bad guys won. Gail Kim, Madison Rain, Gunner over RVD, Zima, Jesse Sorstein won the match, and not Abyss, but Bully Ray's team won. It was leading up to Genesis. Here's your Genesis recap. Kid Cash, or actually Austin Aries retained the X Division title. Devon defeated Pope, and Devon's two kids come to their senses. Jeff Hardy is now the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. He redeemed himself over Bobby Roode. Monster Abyss defeated Scott Steiner. Gail Kim defeated Mickey James by DQ. She retained the Knockouts title. Gunner defeated RVD, and that could very well be RVD's last match. Crimson and Morgan defeated Samoa Joe. And Magnus and Kurt Angle defeated James Storm. And that was your Impact update. Speaking of Beth Phoenix, Fozzy mentioned, speaking of Beth Phoenix, have you You seen her challenging Chelsea Handler to a match? Oh, that girl from Chelsea lately. But check this out. I seen this story on Diva Dirt website. Medusa, Alundra Blaze, former WWF Women's Champion. She reveals she still has the original WWF Women's Championship. And she would like to challenge Beth Phoenix, who is the current Divas Champion, to a match. Vince McMahon, make that happen. Medusa versus Beth Phoenix. Or she can go Alundra Blaze or whatever. For those who don't know who she is, she's the one who threw that WWF Women's Championship in a trash can on WCW Nitro when she first joined WCW. Uh, and that championship got deactivated because she left with the belt, and they ended up with the WWE Women's Championship, and now it's the Divas Championship. So yeah, Medusa versus Beth Phoenix, or Beth Phoenix versus Chelsea Handler. She does have a big mouth, to tell you the truth. Um, oh man, I want to thank Primetime Amy Lee. That was great stuff. Um, I understand I do 1 hour show, but sometimes interviews just go a lot longer than original. But hey, when a wrestler, like she said, when a veteran talks, you listen. I listen to every single word. So best of success goes out to Amy Lee. I had a great time. First broadcast back in Kentucky, and at least there wasn't no Skype problems between Jeff and myself.
No, we had a good call this time, you freaking rat bastard.
Yeah. So, well, let's just see. Let's just hope it gets better on Saturday's show. I want to thank Amy Lee for joining us. Next week we have a wrestler named Kimberly, from New Jersey, and I think you get a kick out of Amy interview because she did call herself a fat broad. Yeah.
I heard.
Again, ITMI on demand. Chillingbroadcasting.com. Chilling with Jeff and Kenny C this Saturday. And thank you everyone for listening. We're about to get on out of here. It's all time is up. Check out Jeff's show tomorrow. Lord Broken Pole, Smoking they on tomorrow. Then Chilling's on Saturday. So yeah, now that you move your NFL show to Friday, that means there's no Web Bastard on Saturday night, correct?
Right.
All right. So Chilling's only on Saturday. NFL show tomorrow. Check both shows out. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next Thursday on Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. We'll see you this Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, Pacific, and 8 Central. Good night, everybody. For Jeff, I am Kenny. We are gone. Peace out.
See ya.
All right, we're off.